What's up, y'all? If you're watching this video, then you probably want to learn how to trade. And we're going to go over that real quick, right? We'll keep it short. The first thing you're going to want to do is know what time you're going to want to trade. We'll go over technical analysis, fundamental analysis, sentimental analysis, and then risk management. So to get started, learning what time you're going to trade, right? So I live in New York and United States, and so I'm going to be looking for the New York Stock Exchange to open so that I can trade at that time. Now I have here sessions already marked, so the orange will indicate the New York session, which would be the New York Stock Exchange market open, which would be 9 a.m. all the way to 6 p.m. But some platforms don't let you trade past 5:30, or actually there's a 1 hour break between 5 and 6, apparently. That's what I'm looking at here. Anyway, some platforms don't let you trade past 5:30. So market opens at 9 a.m. That's where there's a whole bunch of volume in trades, and that's where you can catch a pretty good trade. So we're looking at the 5-minute chart. If you scalp, you're probably looking at the 5-minute and 1-minute chart, right? So market just about open, and then boom, a whole bunch of volume exploded. Trades here, trades there, blah blah, etc. etc. So, just knowing what time you're going to want to trade based on your location and when's the most amount of volume for whatever session you're going to be trading. Moving on, we're going to be doing some technical analysis, right? So this is the Nasdaq NQ, whatever you want to call it. Let's go to the 1 hour chart. And we are pretty bullish on the 1 hour chart. Let's go to the daily chart. Daily chart, still pretty bullish. It's coming back. It's a bit of a reversal on the daily, but overall pretty bullish, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4 straight winning days, 5 small correction. And so let's analyze that. Let's go back to the 1 hour, right? We identified already higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and so on. So on the technical aspect, we are pretty bullish. And so we're going to move on to the fundamental, right? Fundamental would be checking high impact news in the form of at the economic calendar for me. So I go on forexfactory.com, which tells you all the news releases and times based on the release, right? So, for example, at 4:30 p.m. today, President Trump was speaking, and it's an orange folder, which would be medium impact, right? High impact would be a red folder, but he could also say some pretty crazy stuff when he's speaking. So let's analyze that, right? 4:30 today. This is it also tells you, what currency that news is probably going to be affecting. USD, you got the euro, Great British Pound, blah, blah, all that good stuff. So this will be our fundamental analysis. So let's see what happened at 4:30 when Trump was speaking. Let's go to the 5-minute chart. All right. What happened to my sessions? Okay, 5-minute chart. We're looking for 4:30. For some reason, there was a big drop right around 3:55 p.m. Let's see. We can see. An FOMC member Cook speaks. He must have been saying some pretty crazy stuff because the market tanked a little bit right around there at 3:55. And then moving on to 4:30, President Trump was speaking. Pretty much neutral. Nothing really happened when he was speaking. So, not terrible. This guy was talking yada yada, market tanked, President Trump speaking, not much happened, Most people pay attention to Trump when he's speaking. So as far as fundamental, I want to say it's pretty neutral besides whatever this guy was talking about. Now we could go into what he said, but we're not going to do that. Obviously it was pretty negative for the US dollar and as well as the stock market. So not bad, right? Anyway, that's fundamental. Moving on to sentimental. So knowing what we know already, right? On the technical side, we are pretty bullish. Fundamental side, pretty neutral, right? Pretty neutral. We do have this small correction today, but overall, nothing major, right? So on this, I want to say we're going to be looking for a buy. Moving on to sentimental, knowing what you know already, right? I want to say this would be probably a pretty good buy. Now, I already have this marked out, so let me pop that in. So I'm looking at a fair value gap right here on the 1 hour, right? From right here to right here, we got a fair value gap, which, I think it's a pretty small one, nothing crazy, right? Might move, might not move at all, but from we can see already, price touched that order block over here from the fair value gap, right? A bunch of buy orders that touched it, shot back up, right? Now it's coming close to touching it right now, actually. It's 8:24. Tokyo session just opened at 8 p.m. So it touched it, right, just now, and then it came back up. Let's look at the 1 minute. Let's really snipe it in. Touched it, pop back up. It's about to touch it again. So I'm assuming there's a whole bunch of buy orders here, right? That's why I have this marked. And so probably price might come down just a little bit more, absorb a couple more of those buy orders, and then come back up. That's why I have these blue lines marked out, sketched out already. So I'm assuming price will touch here, come up, it might come down just a little bit, and then you'd be floating in profit. So overall, I think this would be a pretty good call for a buy. Last thing we're going to talk about is risk management. Now, obviously, you don't want to bet, all your money on one trade. A pretty good risk management is betting 2% of 2 to 3% of your total balance capital on a trade. So, for example, let's say we have $1,000, right, and we're betting 3%. 3%, for example. That would be right around $30, right? So, you're willing to lose $30 to gain double that at least, right? So, bet $30 just to win $60, right? So, boom, right here, our buy order opens. Our trade is floating, and then either we lose the 30 or we go up floating in profit, blah, 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 take profit over here, and then we win $60 on top of the 30, right? So, yeah. That's pretty much all I got. I mean, I'm not the craziest at explaining things, but overall, like I said, know what time you're going to trade because there's going to be a whole bunch of volume during that time, whatever market session opens, right? Know what time you're going to trade based on your location. Go through the technical, fundamental, and sentimental analysis, and then practice really good risk management. You're not looking to get rich in one day. You're looking to do a whole bunch of sets of trade so that you can average out, higher and higher. You're not looking to get rich overnight. That's how you play the game. So, I hope you learned something. If you didn't, oh well, I suck at explaining. But, I think I did pretty good. Hopefully you learned something. That's pretty much it, guys. Enjoy.